Hello everyone and welcome to Everyday Tarot. I have a new deck that I wanted to share with you, and I've been working with it for, I don't know, almost a month now, and I like to wait a little while till I get sort of a feel for it. Every now and then I get really excited and just do sort of an unboxing review, but this one felt really special to me, and I wanted to get to know it a little bit. At first, yeah, it's an unusual deck. And I want to use it today when I'm done talking about the new deck with my Fountain Tarot deck, because that's what I've been using with it the most if I'm pairing it with the tarot deck. I love the Fountain Tarot deck. So this deck is called the Death Doula Oracle. Now, the name of it, and I researched a little bit. As far as I can see, the person who created the deck is not a death doula. They're just borrowing that phrase as a person who can help you through the transitions at the end of life. And it's kind of a somber topic, right? And yet it is so very important that we face it, right? That we think about death, not all the time, but some would argue all the time, that we're always aware of it. This deck is not meant to be used necessarily for end of life, but what it's meant to do is keep us aware of the importance of presence and living in the moment, and the sort of themes and topics that can come up at end of life, and the things that we should be preparing for every day in our life all along. Mostly because these things help us live a more present and fulfilled life right now, right? So it's called the Death Doula Oracle. It is a photography deck, so the artwork is created from photographs, so it's digitally created. The box, and I will put a link to it in the description box so you can check it out for yourself. The box is so beautiful. It's very minimal. It's just white with the gold lettering. I think it's just gorgeous. I love that. It's a really beautiful box. It's well made. There's nothing excessive about it. On the back, there's one of the photographs, and it says, "The Death Doula Oracle has been influenced by the teachings of a wide variety of spiritual sentiments, mental health practices, the art of astrology, alchemy, and mysticism. For those beginning their spiritual journey, or those who wish to maintain alignment with their innate divine spark, this deck is for you." I would think that would be for everyone, right? It includes 56 cards with an instruction book of rituals, practices, meditations, and more. And I will say that when you purchase the deck, you get an email with a PDF with additional practices. And I actually printed them out and tucked them in the box. I will admit, I have not done any of the practices yet. I fully intend to, but it's just because of the time of year and everything that's going on already. I just haven't had a lot of time for that. But this is the PDF that comes. It's written by Theodore Saint and Hannah Ramon, artwork by Theodore Saint. So I just printed it out and cut it into book pages and made it. In the beginning, it says, "Welcome to the little book on the big death. Everything in the larger book inside the box is aimed at giving the reader a routine they can cultivate now, so that when they do lay upon their deathbed, their physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual body has been nurtured, allowing for ease of passage through the next great gate. It's never too early to begin training your mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional bodies. The larger book provides the tools to epigenetically take control of your experience through routine or ritual. Use the deck and the large book as a day-to-day guide, aiding you by offering a framework for a positive life experience, in turn giving way for one's genes to express themselves in the most enjoyable way possible. Our genes predominantly dictate how our..." I'm not going to read this whole thing. You can read it when, if you just But down here is what I want you to know. The exercises and prompts here in the little book on the big death offer more direct approaches to facing death. These exercises here are not intended to replace the daily practices in the bigger book and are in fact designed to be used sparingly. And so it is really lovely, and I did look through it. And it also helps you if you find yourself in the situation where you're with, you are close to a person who is dying, or if you happen to be with a person who is dying, or if you're helping someone in your life who is nearing their end of life. These are, really helpful things. So it's a great addition to what's already here. A little bit more intense, right? So the book that it comes with is spare. It's not a huge big book, but it's perfect, and I love that. I'm always, a little overwhelmed by huge books with tons in them, and this one is just about right, and it gives you things to fall back on, but it also gives you freedom to explore the book with just a little bit of information, right? And so you can work with it intuitively. So again, it's very minimalistic, which I love. This deck is intended for anyone who chooses to live in alignment with their truest self. Talks a little bit about the deck, all right? I love this part. This deck recommends you light a candle before each reading. As you shuffle, call upon who or what you want guidance from, future or higher self, your ancestors, your guardians. Let the cards express themselves. If they want to be read, read them. If a card wants to stay hidden, let it. This deck is pleased when you allow cards to jump from the deck as you shuffle. The cards are never chosen by chance and are never chosen by the reader alone. And then she gives you card spreads, or they both give you card spreads. Varies from very simple to more complex. And then it talks about each of the cards. So there is not a ton of information here. It's just enough, right? There aren't even keywords, but you'll see. So what it does do is it gives you rituals and ceremonies that you can turn to in the rest of the book. So these few pages are explanations of the cards, if that's all you want to dive into. And if you want to take it further, you can come back here to the rituals, practices, and meditations that each card suggests to you. And there's quite a bit in here, and it's really good. I mean, I have to say, I've looked through it and read a little bit. I haven't used it yet, just because of time right now. But oh my gosh, it's really good. It's really good. It's very grown up, and it's really good. So that is the guidebook. So let's jump into the cards and take a look at these beautiful cards. It comes with this. This is how you get your extra book. All right. So the cards they're large. They're way too large for me to shuffle. If it were a tarot deck, it would be more of a problem. With oracle decks, I just pull them through my hands a little bit until I've set my intentions and taken a few deep grounding breaths. I mean, it's just not that important to have them well shuffled. But it is a beautiful gilded edge deck. All right, the cards are very minimalistic, again, with the white and just that gold dot in the center and the gold border. I think it's stunning. It goes really beautifully with the Fountain Tarot deck, which you'll see. So, and it would go beautifully with any deck, to be honest with you. It's just that kind of deck. So I'm just going to turn the cards over and go through them and just kind of show you, I'm going to zoom in a little bit on the cards. So, Abyssal Plane. So you can see this is photography that is turned into, some of these might be, I don't know, they might be upside down. The Shadow. So some of them are very clearly photographs, created scenes. Others are like abstract art. I mean, but they're still photographs you can see, I think they're really beautiful, and they're really beautifully done. The cardstock is lovely. It's nice and bendy. It's a quality deck. Solitude. I love this hand, and you're not quite sure what you're seeing, but it's just very evocative. Sun. Surrender. So quite honestly, for many days, I didn't even dig into the guidebook. I just drew it when I'm using it on as a like an addition to a tarot reading. I just draw a card and consider the keyword with what it means with my reading. I don't even open the guidebook. So there's that possibility too. Surrender. If it were just the image without a keyword, that might be a little harder to do for some of them, but even then, I think you could do it. I mean, they're really evocative images. Techno Cleanse. I got that one day, and it's such an important card. Regeneration. I love that one. The decaying flower, the fresh flower. It's just really beautiful. Dishonesty. Disruption. Something in a sleeve fell into the frame. Moon. New narratives. Pleasure. I received this one day too, and it was super helpful to me that day. It's called Torpid. I also got this one, Thrombosis. That's a really good one. So you've got chicken wire with like snow. Calcination. Cleanse. Balance. Beauty in death. Drift. Love this card. Embodiment. So I'm not going to go any further because I feel like I'm learning that about myself. I like to be surprised by a deck when I receive it if you do decide to order it. But it gives you an idea, of the kind of photography, from this very clear to sort of merged photographs to the ones that are very abstract, like the sun, right? Like pleasure. Absolutely beautiful, I think. So let's just draw one and read from the book so you get an idea of what the guidebook is like. Connect with the dead. Okay, let's take a look. And everything is alphabetical, so it's really easy to find. Connect with the dead. Look toward the dead, your ancestors or someone you've admired, and see how they have struggled. Your ancestors, personal idols, have manifested you, and you have manifested them in your mutual storylines. You now have the opportunity to overcome what they could not. Use that knowing as the fuel you need to take action in whatever area of life is comparable to where your ancestors or personal idols have struggled. I love this idea, and I think it can be a really useful card in addition to, a tarot reading. But for me personally, one of the greatest things that has been like an epiphany to me over the past decade or so is my bloodline, and doing ancestral research and seeing where the people I came from, and seeing all these hundreds and hundreds of names, and realizing that all of these people had struggles far greater than I will ever know, and they survived and they continued, and I am here because of them. That is a powerful thing to understand, right? That we are here because of the survival of all who came before us. And so it's a powerful thing to remind us of. And it reminds me to take my own perseverance seriously, because the future depends on me, right? So that's Beautiful card to receive. So I just wanted to give you a taste. And then this one, so connect with the dead. This one doesn't give you an extra ritual, right? So that's it for that one. But we'll see. We're going to draw another card with some tarot cards. So sometimes I just use it for one single card, and I use that for my journaling for the morning, right? And it's been great. It's been really great. So let's try it with some tarot cards. This is the Fountain Tarot. I don't think I've done a review about this, but it is, I think it was in one of my treasured decks videos or something. This deck is hugely important to me. It was one of the first decks that I purchased other than the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. I have 2 copies of it, so I always have one in my bag, and I have one here on my shelf, and it's just a deck that in the beginning I really hesitated with. I didn't really connect with it, and over time it has become one of the decks I couldn't be without. So it would definitely be in my top 5 that I couldn't live without, for sure. All right, so I'm just going to pull a few cards. So we've got the 8 of Cups, and we've got the Magician. Let's just stick with 2. So in the 8 of Cups, we see a dark figure standing in front of the ocean, vast and gray and rather calm. And behind him, some shallow waters that he's walked across to look across this great, vast, almost like an abyss, right? And he's got his back turned to these 8 cups that are sort of they're sort of an apparition. Like if he didn't look hard enough, he might miss them. You can see through them to him. So it's a really, for me, this card, depending on my question that I'm looking for an answer to, it's a little bit about what am I missing? You know, what am I turning my back on? What joy can I find in this time where I'm feeling so down? What, you know, I have cups that are full. What are they? And it sort of invites me to ponder the positive side. So I typically think of this card as a really positive card because it can help me turn my story around, right? The Magician card is a perfect pairing with this card because it's really like, you know, don't turn your back on these situations and what's good. You have everything you need to create a better day, a better scenario, a better outcome. You have all the tools you need. You can pull down from your resources and make something tangible in the world happen. The Magician is a card of possibility and power and willingness and willfulness and manifestation in the true sense. I don't mean manifestation where you send your wishes out and hope they come true. Manifestations to me are when you physically make it happen with your hands, manifest, right? And so the Magician is a reminder of that. You can pull it down and make it happen. So this is a great reading. Depending on your question, I mean, it's good. But let's pull one of these cards and see how it might affect it, how it might. Truth. So I see a piece of wood that has been weathered, but there are crystals around it. There's an opening there's a portal to go into. It's really a beautiful image, actually. But let's see what the book says about truth. So truth says, what does it mean to live embodying pure truth? Truth can be very liberating. This card asks the reader to be truthful to themselves in regards to how they feel. What are you afraid of or avoiding? So this sort of tints this reading in a little bit of a different way. What am I turning my back on? What am I avoiding? What am I not seeing clearly? I have everything I need to turn this around, but I need to look closely at the truth of what's happening, right? So this one also does not have an additional ritual. So some of the cards are pretty, you know, but let's say you picked Manifest self. This card encourages self-reflection of your current state and promotes one to feel into the future, looking at who you want your future self to be and how your future self would want to feel. Detail and take note of who you see. And then it says, see future self meditation, see new moon ritual, which are amazing, both of them. I did look at the new moon ritual. So an example, a new moon is the ideal time for new beginnings. The powers for manifestation are heightened during a new moon. This deck invites you to partake in a new moon ritual of your own. And it gives you, it says, see, create your own ritual and harnessing the moon, page 29. If a new moon is not near, contemplate what you would like to let go of and what you would like to draw towards you. Think of how your ritual would correspond with the energies you wish to attract or repel. So your own ritual, let's see, harnessing the moon, page 29. Let's see what they say about that. Just want to give you a little taste because it's great. It's not too much. It's not overwhelming, but it gives you an opening, right? An opening. So harnessing the moon, choose one of the following. And it gives you two options. On a new moon, take as much time as you'll allow. Think of something you wish to manifest in your life and align your actions accordingly with the phases listed below. So it gives you all the moon's phases and how you can work with what you want to manifest, starting at the new moon and ending with the full moon. And by manifest, I think they mean, and I certainly mean, making it happen yourself, right? Doing the work you need to do to make something happen. So, yeah, it's really, really wonderful. And for people who are not used to working with setting intentions around the moon cycle, this book is really good because it's not overwhelming. It's not overwhelming. It's really achievable. So I think they look beautiful together, the white borders and then these photographic images with these sort of mystical but realistic paintings. The colors work really well together too. So if you have the Fountain Tarot deck, this is a great deck to pair with it. Okay, so that's the Death Doula Oracle. I am really, really, really glad to have this deck. I'm very, very happy that I have this deck. I will treasure it and I will use it a lot. I know I've already been using it a lot. It's one of the 3 Oracle decks that I have been, looking toward the most, and I highly recommend it. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for being here with me, and thank you for your practice. Take care.